Hi Aditya.
Hello, good afternoon, sir. Good
Good
afternoon.
afternoon. How are you?
I'm great, sir.
So, what is the weather today?
Sir, it was good, warm and sunny.
Very nice. Do you think that climate change is actually affecting these days? Do you find any? Do you observe any changes in weather in India, especially?
Sir, climate change is visible through different instances. For instance, the heat wave in the last summer, the floods that happened in Pakistan, then droughts keep occurring with a higher frequency in the past few decades. All these are instances of climate change.
Okay. You are a graduate in law, right?
Yes, sir.
And climate change is one subject that is affecting the entire globe.
Yes, sir.
Law is generally applicable to one particular area of land. So do you think that there should be certain law that is omnipresent, that should be applicable to the entire globe? Do you feel that there is a need of such law, or is there any?
Sir, presently, international law has several mechanisms whereby, via ratification of treaties, the state parties can be obliged to enact a law in their respective jurisdictions and hence carry out a coordinated movement towards any objective. The UNFCCC is one convention under which we have signed Paris Agreement, pursuant to which all of the countries are giving their nationally determined contributions for which multiple national laws are enacted.
Okay, very nice. Speaking of national laws, do you know that under what circumstances does a bill gets referred to Joint Parliamentary Committee?
Sir, it depends on the voting of the House. If the House, a resolution is passed and if the House majority believes that the bill must be referred to a JPC, then the bill is given to the JPC for its analysis.
Okay. I believe that any punitive law is best served when it is not utilized at all. Do you agree to this view?
Indeed, sir. That is the final metric of success of a punitive law.
Is there any law in Indian books that actually has come to this fate?
Sir, I cannot recall any specific law at the moment, but certainly that is a vision worth striving for.
Okay. Do you believe that Indians are law-fearing citizens?
Sir, I think Indians are law-abiding citizens.
Okay. What makes you say so?
Sir, if we look in the recent past also, we've seen that Indians are a lot more compliant with the directives of the government. For instance, the lockdown orders that were given. We saw anti-lockdown protests in all Western democracies, but in India, it was a strict lockdown. Then the guidelines regarding vaccines also. So whenever a major national event happens, I feel Indians are much more united in acting towards that goal.
Okay. One last question from my side. What year do you believe that India would lead the medal tally chart in Olympics?
Sir, I think in terms of leading the charts, 2047 would be a good goal.
What are the efforts that India is taking right now to make that goal come true?
Sir, most recently, the Target Olympic Podium scheme was launched by the government after Tokyo Olympics. And then Khelo India scheme was launched around 7-8 years back. Further, clubs and inter-school events are being organized at a larger scale at the grassroots level. So all of these initiatives taken together will keep improving us and eventually help us be at the top of the tally.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Hi, Aditya.
Hello, sir.
So will you please tell me about Arnesh Kumar judgment.
Sorry, sir.
Do you know
Which-
anything about Arnesh Kumar judgment?
I'm sorry, sir. I'm unable to recall it by name.
You are editor of SACG Criminal Law blog.
Yes,
Will
sir.
you please tell me any blog you have done about something?
Sir, a couple of blogs that I can recall currently that I edited while I was the editor were one relating to victim impact assessment and another on Nikesh Tarachand's judgment of the Supreme Court.
Which one is second one?
Nikesh Tarachand judgment concerning the Prevention of Money Laundering Act.
Okay. Do you know something about Kesavanand Bharti case?
Yes, sir.
What is it?
Sir, the judgment was given on 24th April 1973. It is the most landmark judgment of Indian constitutional history, wherein the basic structure doctrine was laid down by the Supreme Court. It says that the legislature cannot amend the constitution vis-a-vis the basic structure and the foundational values of the constitution, while everything else, including fundamental rights, can be amended, provided they don't fall in the basic structure.
So in the past few years, the bill was sick by the Parliament and JEC, and Supreme Court decided it's a violation of basic structure. What do you think about that? Is it right or wrong?
Sir, the initiative to form the NJAC was a welcome step. However, I do think that the provisions in the Act, the specific provisions, were violative of the basic feature, that is independence of judiciary.
How you find it? Why it's violate the basic structure?
Sir, firstly, the executive had a veto power under the existing provisions that were proposed. Merely two people voting against the name would have led to removing the name. Secondly, there was a requirement that the judge being appointed should be fit. Now, this was a very vague provision which could have been misused to keep certain judges away from the Supreme Court. So, this vagueness and the veto power combined took away some element of independence of judiciary. With some reforms, NJAC would be a very welcome measure.
But if the Parliament has power to amend the constitution, if they amended, so don't you think so? It's a imbalance between judiciary and executives or legislatures if they have power to amend the constitution. So what about the supremacy of Parliament? We can say.
Sir, in the Indian context, the parliament is not sovereign, while it is so in the context of UK. In India, we follow the practice of checks and balances. While the parliament does have powers to amend the constitution and to bring about laws, the Supreme Court has to ensure that these amendments abide by the constitutional tenets. So, when there is any such violation, the law will be struck down.
Are you able to tell me from where this collegium system came in India?
Sir, the collegium system evolved through the 4 judges cases.
Which one is that? Please elaborate.
Sir, it was enunciated primarily in the judgment of 1998, wherein a 3-judge body was formed. It was the 2nd judge's case. Then, in the 3rd judge's case, the collegium was expanded to include the CJI and the 4 senior most judges. And lastly, in the 4th judge's case, the NJAC was struck down.
Okay. Please tell me about your strength. If you are an administrator, if you want to utilize your strength, please tell me 3 things about you.
Sir, I believe 3 of my biggest strengths are, firstly, leadership skills that I acquired through different experiences during school and then university. Secondly, emotional intelligence, which emanates from my general experience as also my reading and practicing of Stoicism. And thirdly, I think I have courage of conviction. When I take a decision, I follow it up with utmost discipline and sincerity.
And what about your weaknesses? Please tell me 3 things about your weakness.
Sir, one weakness that I have noticed is oftentimes I struggle to say no to people. So if they keep insisting, I succumb to their requests, which is counterintuitive in certain circumstances. The second um, issue that I can recall is that I think I want to improve my speaking skills a lot more. Currently, I think sometimes I am not as fluent as I would want to be while communicating. So that is something else I'm working on. And so these are the two major weaknesses I can recall right now.
You are playing volleyball
Yes, sir.
and you were also captain, house captain.
Yes, sir.
What is this captain?
Sir, in school, the students in each batch were divided into 4 houses and inter-house competitions were carried out. So this promotes a spirit of competitiveness and excellence in the students by separating them into houses.
I just want to ask about the term captain in general. What does it? What is captaincy? What is captain? If you are an administration, if you are posted in any district as an SP or as an IAS, what do you mean by captain? Give me an example.
Sir, captain could be a leader under any situation, while it is also a formal position in certain hierarchies, such as in the army. It is also colloquially used in different sports teams and managerial events.
Okay.
So Aditya, how are you?
I am doing great, sir.
So you belong from Raebareli.
Yes, sir.
So which are the current social and economics issues which are prevailing in Raebareli?
Sir, firstly, the per capita income of Raebareli is very low at 34,000 rupees constant prices. It is one of the lowest, in fact, in the 75 districts of Uttar Pradesh. Secondly, the situation of sanitation is also not up to the mark. For instance, the Swachh Bharat Mission Rural 2022 report put Raebareli at the 73rd position in the 75 districts of Uttar Pradesh. Lastly, another socio-economic issue is that of insufficient education standards. The literacy ratio of um, the district is below the national average, that is 74. In Raebareli, it is 68%. So that also needs to be worked upon.
As you said about literacy ratio and insufficient education standard, if you are administrator, if you are posted in your home district, what step will you take to improve the education standard of Raebareli?
Sir, the gross enrollment ratio currently has been improved very much. It is above 100%, in fact. So the first point of attention would be to ensure attendance, which is not well. So incentives should be given to ensure that more and more teachers as well as students attend the school. Secondly, there should be focus on outcomes. Now, a lot of times the focus of teachers and students is on completing the syllabus, while the focus should be along lines of what NEP, National Education Policy, has given, that is universal literacy and numeracy. So if the teachers are aligned with this outcome, then they would focus more on teaching these foundational aspects rather than completing the syllabus. The third is to form groups and clubs of parents so that parents are also continually involved in the education process, and thereby they also push their children to study and to perform well.
Very good. The opposite subject is law. So
Indeed, sir.
should you think, do we need to criminalize marital rape?
Yes, sir. I do think that it is high time we criminalize marital rape.
But don't you think if motivated things do come, then it will be injustice?
Yes, sir. There may be instances of false cases being filed, but there are remedies against such false cases, such as malicious prosecution under law of torts. And further, we must understand that laws are misused in every circumstance. So this cannot be a reason for a law to not exist. So discussion and more consensus building needs to happen, and then perhaps we can introduce marital rape as a law.
Should India abolish death sentence, capital punishment? What's your viewpoint?
Sir, death sentence may be liberalized a little more. That is, it may not be given in more often, but I do not think the time is right for removing it altogether. It should remain in heinous and rarest of rare crimes, such as waging war against state or most heinous crimes of rape and murder, etc.
So do you think currently we should have this death sentence? As international opinion and almost more than 100 countries have abolished death sentence, and we have a pressure of abolishing it. So you feel we should have currently, looking to our scenario?
Sir, each society is unique in its circumstances. So I do think that India currently requires death sentence as a deterrent in the short to medium term.
But don't you think criminal justice system should move from retributive justice to reformative justice?
Indeed, sir. I completely agree that focus should be primarily on reformation. However, sometimes circumstances do put up cases wherein, for instance, the Nirbhaya case, there was widespread consensus that such a heinous crime cannot lead to reformation unless, as was the case of that juvenile. So, for adults committing such heinous crimes, death penalty for the foreseeable future should remain.
It is said that this capital punishment is for those who are without capital. Those for without capital. So don't you think it seems to be discriminative in our country? Because the lower strata who cannot afford are more prone to it.
Indeed, sir. In fact, in our jails, almost 70% of people belong to SC, ST, and minorities. So the statistics are indeed skewed in favor of underprivileged section. But I think the answer to it is a better criminal justice system as a whole by improving policing, collection of evidence, faster and speedy justice at the court level, better prosecution agencies. When we grease and smoothen the entire system, it would ensure fairer justice for all.
Good.
Thank you, sir.
So what is the difference between vision and mission, Aditya?
Sir, in my understanding, vision is a greater thing towards which we strive when we create a mission. For instance, the mission may be to make India a developed country by 2047, but the vision behind it is to ensure social, economic, and political justice to each and every citizen.
What is your vision in life?
Sir, my vision is to contribute to the society more than what I benefit from it.
You belong from the UP. So Uttar Pradesh should be divided into 4 smaller states. There was a debate previously by UP should be divided into 4 smaller states. It is a larger state. So do you think that?
Sir, in my opinion, I do not think that currently the situation demands the division of the state. There are several reasons for the same. The most important being that there is no grassroots demand for division of UP. For instance, the Jharkhand Mukti Morcha was there when Jharkhand demand was there. Same for Telangana. There were regional movements. There is no such movement in UP. Secondly, it will also lead to a lot of bureaucratic hassle. We have seen how asset division cases are still pending for Uttarakhand, which was divided in 2000. And then Telangana and Andhra Pradesh are continually arguing in courts. So that would also create much issue. Thirdly, in the recent past, we have seen how the benefits that are reaped from Western UP are being transferred to other less developed regions of UP. So if UP is divided, then these regions would be deprived of the benefits, such as the Purvanchal Expressway, the Ganga Expressway, this, and then the UP Investor Summit that was recently conducted. 29% of the investment is going to Purvanchal. So I think a united UP is a stronger UP for India.
Good. Last question. Volleyball, you have said. So why volleyball is not much popular as compared to cricket or other sports, you can say, in our country? What steps should be taken to make volleyball popularized in our country, or popularizing in our country?
Sir, in my opinion, the primary reason is that cricket has historical roots in India. For instance, it was being played around 2 centuries back also. Then, since hockey and cricket are the most prominent games, India was performing well at international level in the 1950s, 60s. So cricket emerged as the champion in India. Now, the way to popularize volleyball would be to focus at the grassroots level by ensuring facilities that this game is played in each and every school, then forming clubs at the school and city levels so that inter-school and inter-city competitions can be carried out, then promoting the private leagues so that more and more national level players can be incentivized financially as well as in terms of support from fans. All of these steps will ensure that volleyball gains more ground in India.
Okay, that's from my side.
Thank you, sir.
Stoicism is your one of the interest. So have you read a diary of Marcus Aurelius?
Yes, sir. Meditation.
What is the center point you want to say?
Sir, while Marcus Aurelius did not mention Stoicism specifically in his diary, his entire diary has the essence of Stoicism in it. Now, there are several lessons in it. The most important one that I like is about being empathetic and kind to people. He says that most people always want something from him because he is the emperor of Rome. But still, he says that he would still want to be kind to those people because as a human, it is his duty to do so. So this inculcates empathy in a person. Secondly, his focus on duty is something that I really like. He says that every morning when he feels that he should stay in bed, he still reminds himself that as a human, it is his duty to go ahead and work with people for overall betterment. So I like these aspects of the meditation.
Okay, these are these aspects for related to emperor or for common man they're applicable?
Sir, while Marcus Aurelius wrote meditations, it was his personal journal. So he was writing with respect to himself. But these lessons are universal in nature and can be applied for everything.
Does he wanted a republic to be re-established in the Roman Empire? Do you know?
Sir, I'm not specifically aware of his political thoughts.
Okay, okay. Your name is very similar to some other person in UP. Who is that?
Sir, I don't recall anyone from UP.
Okay, okay. Is there some chief minister by your name?
Sir, Aditya Thackeray was a minister in Maharashtra cabinet recently.
Okay, okay. There is a reactor called as Aditya. Have you heard it?
Sir, it is a nuclear fusion reactor in Gandhinagar.
Exactly. What are the prospects of this fusion reactor for India? Do you know?
Sir, nuclear fusion, I think, is a very promising technology with multiple breakthroughs having been done just in the past year. Now, India has 1.4 billion people, around 18% of the globe. So India needs a lot of energy. So if we are able to solve the nuclear fusion problem, then cheap and constant energy can be provided to
But how
this.
this nuclear fusion is different from nuclear fission? Do you know?
Sir, nuclear fission involves splitting of atoms, such as uranium, thorium, etc. While in nuclear fusion, very light elements such as hydrogen and helium are fused together. This is the reaction that happens in the sun. So also this technology is much more safe because the reaction happens in a very confined space, and if there is any leakage, the fuel would become much less dilute, and therefore it would dissipate then and there. So it has much more energy and is much
So it's so
safer.
much potential. Then what exactly is the problem in why we are not able to like still make a full breakthrough into it?
Sir, because it requires much more energy to initiate the reaction compared to nuclear fission. That is one of the problems.
Okay, okay. In the international project going on for regarding fusion reactors and energy creation by it, do you know any
Sorry.
international consortium to
Yes,
make
sir.
this particular idea true, the fusion technology, and thereby creating energy? Do you know?
Sir, it is ITER in France, where India is also a member.
Okay, okay, good one.
Thank you, sir.
About religion and politics, Western model of separating the religion and politics is not applied in India. Do you think it's a correct step you have taken of not separating the religion and politics in a country like India?
Indeed, sir. I think religiosity is integral to the Indian identity. We have diverse religions and people have much more faith. So the ideal of Dharm Sambhav, that is being equal to all religion, is more suited to the Indian way of life.
So it's a Dharma Nirapekshata as a Indian model, or the Sarva Dharma Sambhav is an Indian model? Which exactly you follow?
Sir, Dharm Sambhav.
Okay, that is the model we follow. So it's a different from Western model of a Dharma Nirapekshata.
Yes, sir.
Okay, okay. What is the headline today in newspaper?
Sir, one that I can recall is that the Election Commission has given the symbol of bow and arrow to Bala Sahib Anshi Shiv
Okay,
Sena
okay.
party.
About that Arunachal Pradesh case, do you know something about that case, Rabia Nebam case, which is a main point in this discussion in the case of
Yes, sir.
Shiv Sena?
Sir, in that particular case, it was held that while the position of a speaker is under challenge, the speaker cannot decide upon the disqualification of the MLAs.
Simply because the majority is not still there. Is that that's the reason? Is why he can't
Sir,
decide?
Sir, the idea is that when the speaker's position is being challenged, then there is an issue as to whether the House is united or not. So, if there is a chance that the majority may not be with the ruling party, then a new speaker would be elected. And then there becomes an element of bias. Therefore, a stay is given on the status of disqualified MLAs.
Okay, okay. You stayed in Bengal for at least 3 years or 4 years, I think.
Yes, sir.
Right. So Bengal is the first to go through the modernity in India. It's the only province that is said that Renaissance actually took place. Then what exactly have you observed that Bengal not able to keep pace with the other states in India and now relatively backward now? What could be the reason you think?
Sir, there are several reasons for the same. One of the most important is that there was heavy unionization and lack of ease of doing business in Bengal post independence. So the work was primarily concentrated in small scale industries. And secondly, freight equalization policy also contributed somewhat to it. So even though there was a lot of minerals in Bengal and nearby regions, the freight was made equal for all regions of India. So the minerals were taken to Bombay, Chennai, etc., and some scope of development was taken away from the region. So these are some
So
reasons.
these are mainly industrial reasons or economic reasons. Aren't there social reasons behind it?
Social reasons.
Hmm. Have you found any
Sir,
social reasons?
sir, one is that there were several protests um, against major industrialized houses by the society there. The nano factory incident, the most prominent one. So that may be another reason.
Okay. No problem. Stop.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Yes. Okay.